The trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, the man charged with, of course, 3 charges of second-degree murder. Not 3 different charges, but 3 charges. He's got second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and a second-degree manslaughter charge for the death of George Floyd last year. That is currently underway right now. And one of the arguments in favor of Mr. Chauvin is cringe. And I'm going to show you that this is, here's defense attorney Eric Nelson claiming that it wasn't Officer Chauvin's fault that the police did not give Mr. Floyd life-saving care. No. They couldn't do that because he was distracted. He was too distracted to help. Take a look.
There are people across the street. There are cars stopping, people yelling. There is a growing crowd and what officers perceive to be a threat. They're called names. I heard them this morning. A bum. They're screaming at him, causing the officers to divert their attention from the care of Mr. Floyd to the threat that was growing in front of them.
The care of Mr. Floyd, as if they needed any more of that kind of particular care from the police officers that they were getting. Come on, dude. Really? Wow. I mean, hey, well, his argument is, we're going to do something, but we couldn't because of, all that noise. And, our feelings were hurt when they actually called us names. I mean, oh, my God. So his argument is that Officer Chauvin, because of the name calling, because of the crowd, was too triggered, that he was unable to get his knee off the neck of George Floyd. And, that's why Derek Chauvin's a real victim here. How dare they call him names? How dare they? They made him feel so bad. You were on somebody's neck for almost 9 minutes. And that's an insane argument. And so what's interesting about this argument is, by proxy, it is not Chauvin's fault. Oh, no. It's the crowd's fault. If the crowd hadn't been there and hadn't been urging the officers to get off of George Floyd's neck, then they would have gotten off George Floyd's neck? What? Or would have been able to help him? It doesn't make any sense. And that's like the most charitable way of putting that. Seriously. But again, they're going to go with he got distracted. Okay, well, look, if you get distracted so easily and you get so triggered by somebody calling you names, well, I mean, then maybe you hear me out. Maybe you shouldn't be a cop. If you're so easily triggered, if you have such a thin, little paper thin skin, we shouldn't give you a gun and a badge. I'm just saying, maybe you shouldn't do that. I mean, if you can't handle the pressure of a crowd, what makes you think that you can handle, actual criminals, right? I mean, why are you a cop? Other than, of course, apparently to get all that power and to use that against, vulnerable communities. I mean, it's ridiculous. But understand, right? This happened with him having his knee on Floyd's neck. Floyd was already subdued. He was already handcuffed. He wasn't going anywhere. Okay, wasn't even a danger. Wasn't a danger at all. Had profusely apologized to police before they took him down. Before they ripped him out of his car, shoved him on the ground, handcuffed him, and then kneeled on his neck for 10 minutes or for 9 minutes. All right. It just, holy shit. But understand, with police, they have been trained to use maximum force. Maximum force whenever they can get away with it. And they can usually get away with it because in the black community, because those communities are often filled with people who don't have power. So now the only time that police actually tend to not go overboard is when they're dealing with somebody that they know is wealthy, and generally that tends to be, the upper crust of white society. Okay. That's not to say that they don't go after white people But we've seen the difference here. Okay. We've seen the difference. Again, you usually have in these situations unarmed black people that are killed, whereas you have a white mass shooter. Well, yeah, I mean, they take them alive and occasionally go to take them to get a burger somewhere on the way to jail. But if you're a black man selling loose cigarettes or walking to your car or sitting in your car, well, then we must use maximum force to subdue you. And if you die in the attempt, well, that's your fault. This is essentially what they're saying. Weird how that turns out. Weird. The argument is ridiculous. And by the way, if you watched the video, the crowd wasn't, I mean, the crowd was fairly calm for a crowd that's trying to tell them, hey, get off this guy's neck. You're killing him. They were pleading with the officers. Get off the guy's neck. He says he can't breathe. Get off him, please. He's begging for his mother. And that's what he was. He says, like, tell my mother, my family, I love them. I'm dead. I'm going to die. I mean, all the prosecution has to do is play the video for them. Okay. And it obliterates this defense. If this is what they have, I mean, it'd be hard for a jury not to find him guilty as long as the jury is impartial. And here's the thing about the jury, by the way. It was very difficult for them to find an impartial jury because everybody has seen this video. Millions and millions and millions of people have seen this video. And a lot of them have the same defense. Or I'm sorry, not the same defense, but the same reaction to it, is that this is indefensible. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.